I'm sure at one point you've had a friend or a coworker ask you, hey, you play Destiny 2? Should I play that game? Could I get into it? And you might even say, no, don't do it. Or you might say, well, it is free to play, and you don't really know exactly how free to play it is. Today's video is for you, the veteran Destiny 2 player that's trying to help their friend acclimate to Destiny 2, and maybe they're still on the fence about playing the game, so they don't quite buy any of the expansions yet. So this is a guide on how to help them progress to endgame despite being a free-to-play player under your guidance. Jumping right into it, the biggest hurdle of a free-to-play player is reaching a high power level, which is an arbitrary number that determines how much damage you output and take in various activities. The soft cap is 1530, the powerful cap is 1580, and the pinnacle cap is 1590. I brought up the problem of power level first because it paints the picture of the differences between free-to-play and pay-to-play. And the elephant in the room is Destiny 2 pay to win? Yes. Yes, it is. Now moving on. A free-to-play player can reach the soft cap in about 10 to 20 hours of doing strikes, PvP, Gambit, or dares, as opposed to somebody who pays for the Witch Queen expansion. They do the Legend campaign, and that can take anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, and you'll be closer to the powerful cap, not just the soft cap after you're done. So essentially, if your friend only wants to participate in endgame activities with you, it's worth just buying the Witch Queen and doing the Legend campaign. However, if your friend is a PvP player or is chasing a very specific god roll of a weapon or armor or something like that, maybe it's not worth buying Witch Queen because you're going to be spending all your time doing strikes, Crucible, Gambit, and dares anyway, and you're going to accidentally reach the power cap before you probably even get what you want. So if you're adamant about not spending a cent on Destiny 2, here are the activities that free-to-plays are allowed to participate in. Notice I said participate and not hold your own weight, because a lot of the endgame activities do require a high power level to effectively deal damage to complete it. But this doesn't mean that you cannot be carried through these activities once you meet the minimum power level to enter them, which I believe is 1530 or 1550, something like that. So, the free-to-play activities are the core activities: Strikes, Crucible, Gambit, Dares. And then the endgame activities: Nightfalls, Kingsfall Raid, Vault of Glass Raid, and Prophecy Dungeon. I should also put Legend difficulty of Dares in there. Now I want to contrast this by telling you what paying for the game gets you. So let's say you bought every expansion. Well, then you have more pinnacle and powerful reward sources to up your power level so you can play more endgame. You have more activities in general. You have more easily obtainable strong builds. You have season pass materials, armor, weapons that come from there. You have the stasis element subclass. And if I had to guess, Lightfall is going to share this same trend. So if you stay free to play, don't expect any of the Lightfall goodies. Oh man, that's a lot of text on screen. Yeah, I will try to include a written guide in the video description below, but I'm going to read this and break it down, giving tips along the way. Make your character, then complete the intro quest, A Guardian Rises, which takes about an hour. Please take it slow and stand still during any dialogue because it has a chance to soft lock. This happened 10 to 20 times during this playthrough in various missions. So just rule of thumb, take it slow on missions. Next, complete the quest A Spark of Hope to unlock Risk Runner Submachine Gun. Takes about 30 minutes, but is well worth the time with how much you will be using Risk Runner. Next, complete the Witch Queen story introduction to unlock the crafting system. This takes 30 minutes and is worth doing early in the life of an account because you start stacking up crafting materials for deleting red border red box weapons. This also acts as bad RNG protection for when you eventually go for an eager edge sword from Dares of Eternity. But before doing that, the next thing you want to do is do the first seasonal quest, Hierarchy, on Europa for the seasonal artifact. If you decide to do this later, it's not that big of a deal because any EXP you accumulate, it'll still apply to the artifact even if you do this quest 10 hours later. Now, pay special attention to the loot shopping list section of this guide because you don't want your free-to-play friend deleting stuff that is very useful for them, or they might need to know what they should spend their time on and when to move on from one activity to the next. So timestamp on the screen. that is where the specific loot shopping list guide is, but I will flash it on screen right now. My next recommendation is to run the Dares of Eternity activity until you either receive a sword with Eager Edge or a red box sword, which you then delete, unlock the pattern, craft it, level it up, and then apply the Eager Edge perk. So similar result if you're really unlucky. The Eager Edge is so important for moving. You swap to your sword, and for a couple seconds you have an enhanced lunge distance. You can then jump, enhance lunge, and switch off of the sword to a different weapon, and it carries your momentum. You can use this increased momentum to chain to an ability jump to get even more momentum, and then repeat the process. This will help you zoom around the game and complete most of your missions a little bit faster, and it does add up so much and save so much time. If you want the minute-to-minute fastest route to achieving the soft cap of power level, then run the Leviathan chest route. You unlock this via the quest Operation Midas, which is located on the bottom left of the Moon Director. It's worth watching a video to familiarize yourself with this route, but if it's needed, I will upload maybe a 30-minute unlisted video going through it with an Eager Edge sword and exactly how to get the most bang for your buck out of this farm. But if you're hunting for specific items, maybe you want some extra PvP gear, then you could of course just keep running Strikes, Dares, Gambit, or Crucible until you're at the soft cap. Now that you're at the soft cap at 1530 power level, you can complete a Legend Lost sector, although it will be very difficult. So you have to pick a specific one that you think is possible. Legend Lost sectors rotate daily, so you can check todayindestiny.com to see where the Legend Lost sector is, what the modifiers are, and what the reward is most importantly. You want the following exotics. If you're a Warlock, you want the Starfire Protocol exotic chest piece, so you can throw grenades in a raid encounter, or you want the Lunafaction boots so that everyone reloads faster if they're standing in your well or rift. And finally, this is for all the characters, the Aeon Gauntlets are valuable because in Nightfall situations or raid situations, you can create power ammo by finishing a high tier enemy. For hunters, you want the Orpheus Rig boots because it either gives you an extra tether to shoot or it refunds energy on a tether, both useful in Nightfall and raid situations. Finally, for Titan, you don't really have a lot of great options, so I would just say go Synthoceps and switch to Aeons when you need them. At this point in the guide, your progress is halted by the weekly reset. You do powerful and pinnacle reward sources on as many characters as you want, and then you wait for it to reset each week and do it again. You'll slowly up your power level throughout a season, and then you'll be high enough level to contribute to Master Nightfalls, where you can obtain materials that is useful for build crafting, which could lead to more fun in the endgame. That's pretty much it. A lot of this is information you already knew, but I don't think anyone wrote it out so that you could direct your friend appropriately. Okay, now I can talk specifics of the loot shopping list. First and foremost, you do have the vault space, so just keep one weapon of each weapon type and element. You don't have to worry about archetypes so much, although I do prefer lightweight weapons for PvE. So for example, keep an arc auto rifle, a solar auto rifle, a void auto rifle, a kinetic auto rifle, a stasis auto rifle. Doesn't matter what kind, doesn't matter the perks, just one of each, you will thank me later. As for high priority items, in the Guardian Rises quest, Shah Han gives you a Night Watch scout rifle, which is a lightweight with explosive rounds. Keep it. It's very good and is going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting for you. Next, the Taipan linear fusion rifle. This will be your endgame weapon for the foreseeable future. You can get this as a random drop on the floor, or you can turn in umbral engrams to the star chart in the helm. As for specific roles, I would just say keep any of them that have a damage perk to start, and then eventually look for them with either field prep or triple tap with any damage perk. Again, you do have the vault space, and this is going to be your most important weapon, so just keep throwing all of them that you get in the vault, and let your veteran friend figure it out later. Since you're probably turning umbral engrams in at the star chart in the Vice section, you might end up getting a funnel web SMG. Just keep any role you get, although you will notice the ones with the damage perk perform very well. Next up is rocket launchers, which can be a pivotal raid strategy, involving the exotic rocket launcher Galahorn, which boosts the damage of other rocket launchers. In order of easiest to obtain, we have the Palmyra. You obtain this from the world loot pool, so you could see it on the floor or just turn it into the Cryptarch. Maybe you get a Palmyra. Keep an eye out for auto-loading holster plus any damage perk. If you want to improve your damage in a raid, go for the blowout rocket launcher from Crucible, PvP. The recommended role will be Demolitionist plus a damage perk, especially if you're a Starfire Protocol Warlock. If you play the Strike playlist, you can get the Royal Entry, where you improve slightly over the Palmyra if you go Clown Cartridge and if you have a Void-specific build. The final recommended rocket launcher is Roar of the Bear, which can be obtained from Iron Banner, which is a seasonal PvP activity that only appears twice a season for a week duration each. So, Demolitionist plus a damage perk. Don't overcomplicate it. The next important items are every item from Dares of Eternity, including the Eager Edgesword, Pardon Our Dust Special Grenade Launcher, which can blind enemies. Then, of course, you have the BXR Battler from Halo. It's a very good solar pulse rifle. You have Wastelander, a lightweight shotgun. I recommend 1-2 punch or trench barrel. And finally, the Retrace Path, which is a trace rifle, which is very useful to have because if you equip 2 special weapons, trace rifles or special weapons, you can manipulate heavy ammo spawns in in-game activities. So it really doesn't matter what role you have, just keep most of them. Now for the medium priority items. Riptide from the Crucible. Auto-loading holster plus chill clip, although just starting out, keep any of them with chill clip. If you're doing the Leviathan farming route, you want to keep pretty much every opulent weapon and don't really care about the perks that you get on them. Although I will say if you're a PvP player, keep a special eye out for the beloved sniper rifle, which could roll with Snapshot. Specifically Quick Draw and Snapshot, that would be incredible. The final weapon I recommend is the Vouchsafe Scout Rifle from the Dreaming City. You can do the Blind Well activity and get lucky and maybe it drops, although you can also get another Void Scout by doing the King's Fall raid. However, this is a gearing guide, so you're not going to be doing the King's Fall raid before you obtain any of this. However, if you do have friends who will carry you through it, having a Void Scout rifle is very important for doing some lost sectors when you're extremely under light. So, you've reached endgame. Now what? Well, the only thing left to do is high stat armor farm and play some PvP. Or go do the raids again and try to speedrun them with free-to-play characters and builds and whatnot. So if you're going to high stat armor farm, the first thing you want is an economic ghost mod for your desired stat. And unfortunately, this is a random drop, although you will probably get all of these before you even hit the soft cap. These can be obtained from turning in engrams, opening chests, find them on the floor, etc. You will find them. I recommend using the Discipline Ghost mod for majority of my builds, but if you know what you're doing, just put the desired stat on and go to town. The sources for high stat armor are legendaires and raids. That's pretty much it for a free-to-play account. So as you can imagine, it's not a really self-sufficient way to farm for armor and is almost always worth buying an expansion. However, in the future, I think master raids will start dropping artifice armor, and artifice armor is just going to be the best armor pound for pound. So to eventually farm artifice armor on a free-to-play, you just wait until the weekly rotating raid is also a free-to-play raid, then you do the master version. But to do so, you have to have a really high power level and decent gear. So that's why I put this at the end of the guide, because this is the last thing you do. While build crafting is going to change in the future, I'm pretty confident recommending these PvP builds if you decide to put them together. On Titan, go for Peacekeepers or Dune Marchers, play Void or Arc Titan. On Hunter, get Stompy, Gemini Jester, play pretty much any of the subclasses. If you want to go subclass specific, go Young Ahamkara Spine with Solar. On Warlock, you go Transversive Steps or Ophidian Aspects with pretty much any element. And I think that covers it for armor. For weapons, play the competitive playlist to get a Rose, which is a lightweight hand cannon. Very, very powerful hand cannon. Just use that. For a shotgun, you can do Blind Well, Dreaming City to get a Retold Tale, maybe dropping with Quick Draw Snapshot or Slide Shot, something like that. You could also go on the Epic Game Store and get the 30th Anniversary Pack for free, which gives you access to the dungeon, which allows you to farm for the Matador 64. Grasp of Avarice is the name of the dungeon. Ogre Encounter is where the Matador 64 drops. Or you could also maybe do a Nightfall. This Nightfall this week was the Mindbender's Ambition, which to me is good enough for a free-to-play account, so I'm just going to use that. Moving on to sniper rifles, there are a couple choices. For a 40 zoom sniper, you have Defiance of Yasmin from the King's Fall raid. You have Beloved from the Leviathan chest farming route. For 45 zooms, you have Adored from the Tower Kiosk. It costs an Ascendant Shard. You also have the Albruna D from Gambit, which is a high impact 45 zoom. There's also Frozen Orbit from the Crucible, and the Long Walk from the Prophecy Dungeon. If you end up choosing to play Peacekeeper Titan, which is a build specialized around submachine guns, then you have a couple choices. I believe the best one is the Aikilos SMG, which you can get by participating in the season, and by completing activities, you get a currency called Resonant Stem. You can use these to search for music boxes around the solar system for a little bit, randomly get a drop, or you can go to the Helm, and there is a vendor at the Helm that will let you trade these Resonant Stems and an Umbral Engram for all of the Aikilos weapons. And maybe you get lucky, maybe you get an Aikilos SMG. The next best would be the Borrowed Time SMG from Gambit, and then after that, I think everything else is pretty much tied, and you're either waiting for a specific loot table of the Dares of Eternity, or you're doing Vanguard Strikes for that lightweight SMG, or you're just gonna stick with Funnel Web or the Crucible SMG. There are a lot of competitive choices. Finally, for power weapons, pretty much just use any rocket or grenade launcher, it'll do just fine. In the video description below, you will find a link to the Dares of Eternity loot pool. It is a 4-week rotation, and it is so difficult to get a specific roll of any of these weapons, which is why I didn't mention it up until now. You would be spending significantly more time chasing a god roll here than you would be just doing weekly resets and hitting maximum power on a free-to-play account. I'm serious, the RNG is that bad. Finally, as for a recommended power weapon on a free-to-play for PvP, just use a generic rocket launcher or grenade launcher until you get an exotic power weapon. Wardcliffe Coil or Tractor Cannon is fantastic, as well as you could just use the Eager Edge Sword the entire time, and it's still going to be strong. I hope you learned something new today, and I hope your friend enjoys Destiny 2 as we learn more about Lightfall and maybe have it in our hands to play sooner than later. For the rest of the video, I will show off some of my favorite moments of leveling up this account. I don't know if I'm going to continue this as a free-to-play. I'll probably end up buying some expansions here and there if it means making a cool build just to have an alt account to maybe lend to my mom so I could do some family content like I took my parents to the lighthouse type thing. It'll be fun. Okay. Edgar Edge. Edgar Edge. Oh. He's done it.
Oh, shit.
Okay, well, no more of this. Let's go to Gambit. Time for some Gambit, brother.
That's for Aikilos only.
Why do I feel like you're talking to me like I'm asking dumb questions?
You're not. We've just got the answers very quickly.
Should I drink and snipe more? What the fuck? What the?
At least hit 1800.
Big numbers.
Whoa, my god, what the fuck was that? Oh, shit!
Yeah, I did get a Hobgoblin.
Oh, it was Frosty's. Whoever said that in the chat. Temporary timeout, 15 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
It's
We're recording this. Thank you for the Stompies. It's a Dragon Shadow. You know what, though? All things considered, that's the best for grinding PvE mindless activities. That's the better one right here. No strength on this Gemini. I mean, Stompies.
I mean,
Okay, that's bad. But, hey, it's still Stompies. There's no... Oh, Legendary is no mic needed. There we go. They didn't say anything about power level. They just said the mic.
surely.
Oh, we're actually almost done.
Oh, come on. Oh. All right, 1604, 1608, 1604, 1600, 1548. Let's
go.
see if they shoot me the invite. Come on, Stealth Block 117. You can do it.
With all of these
Recruit me to the team, coach. I'm about to get booted. I'm just waiting for the inevitable. Whoa!
You do this
That
to-
sound!
You do this a really polite way. You actually got in. Holy shit.
There's no way. The LFG method. You don't know how much I want to type in Japanese right now.
Just type thank you in Japanese.
Yeah.
It would be so fucking funny.
Oh, they're considering it. Stealth Block 117. Nobody says no to Nobara Kagisaki, who is 1548 with the shadow emblem. If I get booted right at the end and then they invite their friend, I swear, this is more entertaining than any raid I've ever done. They
Amy's
better
gonna
not
be
light
so
level
much better
shame
next
me with
season.
those loadouts.
Genuinely
Wait.
gonna be so much better next season.
I saw a glaring flaw. Machine gun, machine gun, machine gun, machine gun,
Galahan?
and not Galahorn. Oh no. This is gonna take forever.
Yeah, you're on the,
There's
you're
not
on
a
the
galley.
bungee. Oh, everyone.
Let's go! No lightning round, please. Please, no fucking lightning round.
Well, I guess,
they end
Stumpy,
up-
you're in the same spot as me then. Having to make sure you have all of the seasonal weapons unlocked.
Yeah.
They,
I'll
Why?
send you,
Why would you subject me to this team?
I'll see you in Nightmare Hunts for a fucking month. It's not. It's not
Oh,
gonna
I'm
take that
about to
long,
be
but-
sweating the lightning round.
kill the dudes and collect the juices.
Okay, well, they're not popping up on my map.
Sabotage.
Oh, you're not popping up on my map. I have to. Oh, I have to get the fuel.
Oh yeah, just let the 1540 solo the plate, that's cool. They're all gonna get God roll ignition codes
Where's the other one?
and instantly delete them. Let's go! Stealth Block 117, you're a beast. Thanks for inviting me.